accordingly. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। We are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 11, chapter 11, verse number 48. So this is Sri Krishna continuing to answer Uddhava's question about the devotee, his characteristics, behavior, his activities. So we read various limbs of bhakti, especially related with deity, temple, service, and various offerings which have to be made, and the attitude, which was very important, where he says amanitvam adambhitvam kritasya parikirtanam. So very important for sadhaka. Those who are siddha, then these characteristics are natural, but those who are practicing, they have to know them and strive to have these characteristics. Of course, with devotion they manifest naturally, but when we are trying to get bhakti, then we should also be mindful of them. So then he described the various places where he can be worshipped if temple is not there. Now he concludes his reply to Uddhava in these two slokas 48 and 49. So he says, Prayena bhakti yogena satsangena vina Uddhava no payo vidyate sadhring prayanam satamhiya. So he says that generally speaking, without bhakti yoga and satsanga, there is no other means to become free from material bondage. It is not possible. And I am the shelter of devotees, prayanam hi satama. Anathaitat paramam guhyam shinvato yadunandana sugopyam api vakshami tvam me bhritya suritsaka. And after this, Krishna's heart was very soft, affectionate towards Uddhava. So he says that now I am going to tell you the supreme secret, which is that about satsanga, basically that's what he is going to talk. Sugopyam api vakshami tvam me bhritya suritsaka. Why I am going to tell this? Because you are my servant, friend, playmate. So although it is sugopyam, it is very, very confidential, but I will speak this to you. So just as he spoke to Arjuna also, that sarvaguhyatamam bhuya shruname paramam vacha. So like that here also he says sugopyam api vakshami. So this is the end of chapter 11. It's commentary by Sri Vishnu Chakravarti. So he says Gyan Bhakti Margav Uktau. So he says in the verse till 47 he has spoken about Gyan Marg and Bhakti Marg. Vastutastu sansara taranadi upaya vastuno bhaktireva upaya. So he says in reality, if one wants to cross over the material world, then only bhakti is the means. Without bhakti it is not possible. So we have read this statement earlier also, that without bhakti, even Gyan, although Gyan is very prominent and it is considered as one of the popular path for attaining moksha, but now he says that in reality it is bhakti only which is the upaya. So upaya means and upaya means the goal attainable. So prayena, but he uses the word prayena. That means he is not saying that It is the only one. In the sloka he said prayana, but the commentator has used the word eva. So commentator says bhakti reva upaya iti. That bhakti alone is the means. But Krishna says prayana mad bhakti yogena satsangena vina uddhava. So why is that he is making the word prayana as eva? So therefore he comments on this. So he says prayana iti vitarka iti sandarbha. So sandarbha says that the word praya here means vitarka, which means reasoning, logic. So in other words, Jiva Goswami says that the word prayana does not mean in general or most of the time, but says based on reasoning. Means based on reasoning we see that it is only bhakti yoga which is the means. That is the meaning of vitarka. Or if you take the popular meaning of prayana as means in general or commonly, this is the means there is something else also, then he comments like that. Yadva satsangena hetuna eva yah prayena bhakti yogas tena vina upayo no upayo vidyate. So then he says that okay, the meaning of prayena here is, where is the sloka? Prayena satsangena bhakti yogena. He is applying like that. That means is only bhakti yoga, but this bhakti yoga he says is generally by satsanga. That's how he is taking. So he is applying the word prayena to satsangena. Prayena satsangena bhakti yogena. That bhakti yoga, which is the only means, which generally comes by satsanga, there is no other means. So he explains this little more clearly. So prayena bhakti yoga tena vina upaya no upaya vidyate. So pradhan bhuta kevala cha iti dvividha bhakti sadhu sange naiva bhavet iti vyakhyatameva. So he says that bhakti is of two types. One is kevala bhakti, other is pradhani bhuta bhakti. One is pure bhakti, means it is not mixed with jnana or karma or yoga. Other is that bhakti which is mixed with karma yoga or jnana yoga or dhyana yoga. So he already described those two divisions. Remember when he said that you start with karma yoga, then you get purified, then you come to jnana yoga mixed, then you give up the jnana yoga only, then you attain moksha. When he was describing the path of jnana yoga, that's how it was described. But in both cases he says that this bhakti comes by sadhu sangha. But then there is another path. So there is Gyan Mishra Bhakti and there is Bhakti Mishra Gyan. So he says if it is Gyan Mishra Bhakti or Karma Mishra Bhakti or Yoga Mishra Bhakti or pure Bhakti, that Bhakti will come only by satsang, means by the association of a devotee. But if it is Bhakti Mishra Gyan, means Bhakti is secondary, Gyan is primary, then that kind of Bhakti can come without satsang also. Because that is not real Bhakti. So that's what he says here. He says, Yacha moksha sadhakam bhakti mishram jnanam tatra guni bhuta bhaktiriya sadhu satu sadhu sangam vinapi bhavet. So that bhakti which is secondary to jnana and which is a means for moksha sadhaka. So he says that bhakti, it is possible without sadhu sangha. Because one studies, one understands that moksha comes by jnana, but you need the help of bhakti, so then one engages in that. So that is really not bhakti, because one is not taking recourse to bhakti. One does not have, his ultimate shraddha is not in bhakti. Ultimate shraddha is in jnana. And bhakti begins with shraddha. So he has this much shraddha that bhakti will help him to get moksha by the process of jnana. But his shraddha is not in bhakti. So therefore he says that this can happen without sadhu sangha. Ato atra praya grahanam. So that's why the word praya has been used here. Tasya bhaktehe tas jnanam eva karanam. So that bhakti, the cause for that bhakti, this type of bhakti, is jnana itself. Cause here means that is the hetu. So annasya hetor vasati. Somebody is living in Mathura for the sake of food. Olden time. Now he will live in Vrindavan because there is more food in Vrindavan than in Mathura. Previously in Vrindavan there was no food available because Grihasthas were not living here. Sadhus came, they lived, built temple. Grihasthas were in Mathura. There was no town here. So therefore in Harinavarth Vyakaran, Jiva Goswami gives the example Annasya hetor vasati Mathurayam. It lives in Mathura for the sake of food. So food is the cause of his living in Mathura. Food is causing. So like that it is jnana which is causing the bhakti. Food is the goal, and for that he lives in Mathura. So jnana is the goal, for that he does bhakti. So therefore he says that this bhakti is caused by jnana. So tasya bhaktehe tas jnanam eva karanam. He gives another example. Yatha karshakasya kardanadina yat prithvishvaro upasnam tasya karanam krishireva अन्यथा तस्या वैफल्यात इति प्रथम स्कंधे व्याख्यातम. So he says that there is a farmer and he is worshipping the king by giving him tax. So he says that what is the cause for him to do this worship? He says otherwise he won't be able to do this farming. Because the king will say, you are not giving tax, so throw him out. So the worship is being caused because of the farming. Not that he is interested in doing the worship of the king. If he doesn't have to pay the tax, he will be happy. So it's same like that. So he says this was already explained in the first canto. एवं च यत् करम्भिर यत् तपसा ज्ञान वैराग्योश्च यत् तत्सर्वं भक्ति योगेन यदि कथंचित वांछते. So there is a sloka that whatever you want to attain by karma, jnana, tapasya, jnana, vairagya, all that you can attain by my bhakti yoga. So karambhir yat tapsa ityadi bhagavadukter jnanadikam vinapi bhaktir sarvafal datri. That bhakti can give you everything, whatever you can get by karma, by jnana, by yoga, by tapasya, by charity, all that can be attained by bhakti. But bhaktya tu vina Jnanadikam na mokshadi sadhakam. But without bhakti, you cannot attain success in achieving the goal of jnana, karma, etc. That is not possible. Tatra tatrapi bhaktireva tattat phaldaini vyakhyaya. So everywhere, whether it is Gyan Marg, Karma Marg, Yoga Marg, it is only bhakti which gives the result. It should be explained like that. Ato anya upayo ajagalastana nyayena eva iti kechidahu. So therefore everywhere else these other means, these are not real means, Gyan Yoga, Karma Yoga, etc. They are just like the teats hanging at the neck of the goat. This is called Ajagala Stana Nyaya. So stana means teats. So the teats you get milk. But some goats have these two things hanging from the neck. They also look like teats, but they give no milk. So therefore, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga without bhakti are like that. No milk will come out of it. You can keep on pulling them, but nothing will happen. So that's why it says that Srama eva hi kevalam. Sreya sritim bhakti mudasyate vibhoklishyanti ye keval bodha labdhe. Tesam asau kleshala eva shishyate yatha sthula tusavghatinam. So other example is beating the husk. No grain will come out from that. So here also nothing will come out. Tatriyam bhagavaduktir pramanam. So in this regard the following statement of Bhagavan is also the proof. Taptrena bhitasya ghore santapyamanasya bhavadvanihe pasyami nanya charnav tabangri dvandvata patrad amritabhiv varshat iti uddhavoktirapi. So this is the above sloka was Bhagavan, this is Uddhava speaking, that in this material world where everybody is suffering from three types of miseries, adhyatmic, adi bhautik, adi devik. So in the path of samsara, he says, I don't see any other I don't see any other umbrella to protect us from the scorching heat of the taptraya except taking shelter of your feet. So, which shower the nectar. So like when you are suffering in the heat and the rain comes, so sansara davanal leedha loka. So the sansara is davanal. Now there is a big davanal going on in Spain and France, but no clouds coming there. So this is the heat, sansara, taptraya. So this is, which type of suffering is this? Adhyatmic, adi bhautik, adi devik? Which one is that? So that is adi devik. तन्मा जी क्या बोलना आपको?
Just wanted to confirm my understanding about this Gunibhuta Bhakti. So in this passage you can see a little bit of a contradiction, because in the second half he says that karma and jnana are useless without bhakti. So that Gunibhuta Bhakti is actually what is considered to give moksha, as he has explained elsewhere also. Mohini says she can't hear. Can you hear me, Baba?
Yeah, I can hear.
Closer. So what I was saying was that the Gunibhuta Bhakti is considered to give the result of Karma Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, of the type that's described in the first 6 chapters of the Gita. That's how you get moksha, because there is bhakti, and that's actually what makes the karma and jnana useful or effective. Otherwise it's useless. Here he is saying that it doesn't come from sadhu sangha, so it's not truly bhakti, because there's no Shraddha in the Bhakti. So it's not Bhakti in one context and it is Bhakti in another context, it appears.
No, it is not bhakti in the sense that bhakti, what does bhakti mean? That we have worshipable and we want to serve him without any selfish motive. That's what we consider as bhakti. So it is not bhakti in that sense, but you are doing activity of bhakti. Some Sarup Siddha activities like chanting of the name. So you chant the name, so that is Sarup Siddha bhakti. But you are not doing bhakti to Bhagwan when you are doing it, because your goal is you want moksha. So in that sense it is said. So that bhakti also knows that this guy is not after real bhakti. So she gives it and apna picha chhodao. So get rid of this fellow, Otherwise he will keep on troubling me. Sometimes people come and they beg you. You are not really interested in giving any money or anything, but they pester you so much. So I said, okay, give and let him go and leave me alone. So like that. So you can say that although you are giving charity, it is not really charity. So like that it is bhakti, but not really bhakti.
Thank you, Lord.
So then he says, another quotation, he says, Sansara sindhum ati dustaram mutti tirshor nanya plavo bhagavatah purushottamasya lila katharas nishevanam punshe bhaved vivid dukkha dasya iti shukokti rapi. So this is sloka spoken by Sukdeva. So he says that in this material world, Sansara Sindhu, which is like an ocean, one is drowning. So if you actually think of this material world, even whether you believe God or not God, if you actually start thinking, it is quite overwhelming. When you think of the galaxies and there are billions of years away and there are so many of them. Imagine you are left somewhere in the sky and you are lost. Sometimes when I fly in the plane, I used to think like this and then look at this. Imagine that you just hang here, you cannot go on earth. What will happen? So it's quite overwhelming. So the samsara is like that, Where will you go? You are just cooked. Like you are inside a plane, you are sitting, you are tied to the belt, you cannot move. They even say, belt on. Put on your belt so you cannot move. So we are like that, tied. So he says that there is no way, ati dustaram, it's not possible to cross over this. Titirshor anyah plavo. And somebody actually wants to go to the other side. If you don't want to go and you want to just hang around here, then there is no problem. Continue. But if you have a wish to cross over, then there is no other boat except your lotus feet or your katha. Lila katha ras nishevanam antarena. So there is no other way but to hear the lila katha. And vivida dukkha davartasya. And then you are suffering from again he using the word forest fire. That you are troubled by the forest fire. So imagine you are in the midst of a forest and there is fire. What will you do? Run here, there? Nothing. Where will you run? Then another one, Kimva yogena sankhena nyasa swadhyayo yayorapi Kimva shreyo bhiranyescha na yatratma pradohari. So Narada Rishi also says that what is the value of doing yoga, sankhya, nyasa, putting all these mantras, tantra, swadhyaya, study of the Vedas, and any other path which are known as the path of attaining ultimate goal of life. He says if all these paths do not have devotion to Bhagavan Hari, who is so compassionate that he gives himself, Atma Prada, that he gives himself to his devotee. So he says all these other processes are worthless. They cannot help you. So samyak prayanam, samyak prakrishtam ashraya. So Bhagavan is the prakrishta ashraya, the supreme shelter of the living being. And then the next sloka he describes that how Bruyu snigdhasya sisyasya guruvo guhyam api uta iti smrite. That a guru reveals the secret to an affectionate disciple. So tubhyam aham ananya prakashyam api vastu vachmitya. So following this principle, Krishna says that I am going to reveal to you something which I would not reveal to others. Ananya prakashyam api. So that's why I say sugopyam api vakshyami. Tvam me bhritya suhrit sakha. So he is very affectionate to his devotee, friend, playmate. Sankhya yogadini sadhanantar savyapekshani. So Sankhya yoga etc. they are dependent on other paths. Savyabhicharani cha satsangastu swatantra eva samartha. Phalavya-bhichari chaiti Swami Charana. Sridhar Swami says that satsanga is independent process and capable of giving the result and unfailing. So these other paths, they have two defects. One is that they are not independently capable, and then they may not always be successful. Savyabhicharani. And this says it phalabhyabhichari. So satsanga is independent process, not dependent on anything, and it is always successful. It never fails. So therefore in the chapter number 12, Bhagavan Krishna will speak about satsanga with examples. How many people have attained perfection. Iti sarartha darshinyam harshinyam bhakta chetasam ekadase sangato atra ekadase sangata sadam. So he says that in this way, this commentary Sarartha Darshini, which gives pleasure to the heart of devotees, have been completed. Says Ekadashi. I don't know if he completed it on Ekadashi. So the glories of Satsanga will come now. Chapter number 12. Satsanga is, this is what Jiva Goswami does a lengthy analysis in Bhakti Sandarbha, that what is the original cause of Bhakti, because it is understood Bhakti is transcendental, so nothing material can cause Bhakti. So he says that here in the material world, Bhakti comes by the association of devotees. Sadhu Sang, Satsang, Bhakta Sang. Tulyamana Lavenapi. So it says that you cannot compare this sadhu sangha, even a momentary association of a sadhu cannot be compared by swarga, aparga, punarbhava. So Bhagavat Bhakta Sangasya. So what to speak of any material thing. So now Sri Bhagavan Vacha, 12th chapter, speaks. Narodhayati mam yoga na sankhya dharma evacha na swadhyas tapastyago nishta purtam na dakshina. Vratani yagyas chandamsi tirthani niyama yamaha yatha varundhe satsanga sarva sangapahohimam. So he says that there is nothing which can control me, subdue me, overpower me, whether it is yoga, that is Stang Yoga, Sankhya, Sadasad Vivek, Prakriti Purush Vivek, Dharma, Smriti Sadachar, Swadhyaya, study of the Vedas, Tapasya, doing austerities, following some vratas, Tyaga, renouncing everything, being sannyasi Baba, Ishtapurta, so Ishtapurta, same doing activities of yajna, some welfare, social welfare, corporate responsibility, right? So making some roads, opening schools, hospitals, distributing food, cloth, so all this, na dakshina, or giving something in charity. So he says none of these things can capture my heart. The only thing which captures my heart is bhakti, where he talks about satsanga. So then he says vratani also, doing some vrata, yajna chandamsi. So reciting of the mantras, stotras, visiting holy places, doing parikrama. So whether you do by walking or by lying down on the ground, khadi parikrama, padi parikrama, two types. So that also it says no. Niyama, yama, following rules, regulations, various types. Getting up early morning, yatha vrundhe satsanga. So as the satsanga pleases me, none of these other things please. And sarva sanga apohohi mam. This satsanga, it takes away all other types of bad associations, attachments, addictions, all these things are taken away by sadhu sangha. Commentary by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti. द्वादशे साधु संगस्य महिमा उक्तो व्रजौकशाम प्रेमणा सर्व महोत्कर्ष सूचिता संसेच्छिदा. So 12th canto there is description of sadhu sangha and also the description of the glories of the residents of Vraja. And then superiority of prema is being described by Krishna, who dispels the doubts of Uddhava. Yoga means asana pranayamadi. So he says, Narodhayati mam yoga. Sankhya means atmanatma viveka. To have the discernment between what is matter and what is consciousness. Dharma, ahimsa paramo dharma. So dharma, ahimsa. So non-violence is one of the fundamental principle of dharma. So therefore he translates dharma as ahimsa. Ahimsa satya asteya brahmacharya parigraha yama. Swadhyaya Veda Patha. Swadhyaya means study of the Vedas. Tapaha Krichradi. So tapa is, there are Krichra Vrata, Chandrayan Vrata. So various types of vratas are there. Then Tyaga means sannyas. Very important. Ishtapurtam. So Ishtam cha Purtam cha. Kuparamadi Nirmanam. Digging wells, Now you can bore well, supply water, make some fruit garden. Dakshina sabdena samanyato dhanam lakshyate. So dakshina, the word dakshina here refers to just the charity in general, although dakshina is specific. Then vratani chaturmasyani. Chaturmasya, now many sannyasis are doing chaturmasya vrata at present. This is the time, Shravan, rainy season. Don't travel here, there, sit down. Golden time, a lot of snakes come out. So traveling not easy in the rain. No highways were there. Then yajna means Dev Puja. Chamdamsi rahasya mantra. Secret mantras. Na rodhyati pratyakena anvayat. So na rodhyati, that they do not capture my heart, has to be applied with everyone. Means yoga na rodhyati, na sankhya na rodhyati, dharma na rodhyati. None of these things attract me. Vratani ityadav vachan parinamena narodhyanti. But vratani is in plural, rodhyati is in singular. So you have to make that rodhyati as rodhyanti to match with the vratani. Rudher vasikarnarthakatvat yogadyo na madvasikara prayojika. So what does the word rudha means? Generally the word rudha means to obstruct. Avrodh. You see, no? Avrodh. Avrodh means to block something. But here it is in the sense of vashikarana. Vashikarana means when you control somebody's mind. Vashikarana is also part of Tantra. So what is the biggest vashikarana? Is love. So, right? So then your heart is captured. That is the vashikarana. So Krishna says that I also fall prey. He says, I have given Tantra to do Vasikarana, and then I also become object of Vasikarana myself. That's why this is a secret. He is telling the secret how you can do Vasikarana on Krishna. So, who wants to tell this secret? That if you do this, then I will become controlled by you. So he is telling. And he is also telling what really controls him. In case you have confusion that I do yoga. Because if you do yoga, asana, pranayam, you're bending your body, breathing left, right. So how does it affect Krishna? Does it make any difference to him? You can go on doing it and he can play on his flute, no problem. So it does not call for his attention. Your pranayam does not call his attention. But if you chant his name, then Nam Vyaharanam Vishnu Yatastad Vishyamati. So then he says, oh, somebody is calling me. You do kirtan, satsanga, because he is with sadhus. Anuvrajami, Puyetam Ghrurenibi, Nirpeksham Munim Shantam. So that's why he is telling the secret now. This is the secret. So therefore he says Rudher Vasikarnarthakatva. That Rudh Dhatu here means to be controlled. Yogadayo na mad vasikar prayojika iti. He says therefore this yoga, sankhya, they don't attract me at all. He's not interested in them. Tairaham ashtang yogi prabhritir na vasikrito na praptasyamiti falitortha. He says therefore those who are doing ashtang yoga etc., I am not attracted by them. So therefore the meaning is that they cannot attain me. So panthastu koti south vatsara sampragamya. Right? That you can go on for koti here you cannot find him. But Sante Sadev Hriday, but he is in the heart of the sadhus. Na sadhayati mam yogo na sankhya. This is another sloka which I think comes later on. न साधयति माम योगो न सांख्यम धर्मुद्धव न स्वाध्यास तपस्त्यागो यथा भक्ति ममोर्जिता. Similar sloka except the last part is different. So there also Krishna says that yoga, sankhya, dharma, swadhyaya, tapa, tyaga, they don't please me, they don't satisfy me as my pure devotion. Why? Because there itself says bhaktiyaham ekya grahya, that I am captured only by bhakti, not by anything else. So this is, people don't know this. For us it looks simple because we keep on hearing about bhakti, but those who are not on the path of bhakti, they don't understand this. They think that what is there, why so, what is so special about bhakti? Gyan is great because you are doing so much tapasya, austerity, chaturmasya. You people don't follow chaturmasya. So how God will be pleased with you? And you do not do any pranayam. So if you don't do any pranayam, why should God be pleased with you? They think like that. Your heart is not getting purified. So bhaktyaham ekya grahya iti agrim vakyena ekarthyat. So because later on there is unity of meaning. Yogadeo na mat prapti upaya iti. So these yoga etc. are not means to attain me. Ato no upaya vidyate iti purvokti reva dridhikrita. So then therefore when it is said no upaya vidyate kvachit, which was said earlier, so he says that itself is being fortified here, what was said earlier. Satsango yatha vrundhe vasikaroti iti niyanta priyogene bhakti utpatte purvam api saiva swam mam vasikuryat ki punar bhakti janitva iti artha labhyate. So in the sloka he says satsanga yatha vrundhe, that as satsanga controls me, none of these processes control me. So he says that satsanga is controlling. So this is even before one has attained bhakti. Then what to speak if one has attained bhakti, then how much he will be controlled. That is the meaning which comes from here. Atri yatha shabdas tatra cha yatha shabdo yathavaditi arthaiva prayukta. So yatha vrundho satsanga. So he says yatha here is in the yathavat, in the sense of yathavat means it is the only one which controls me, and not in the sense that as much as bhaktyaham ekya grahya iti agrim vakye ekya iti pad prayogat iti eke yogadinam api bhakti mishratvat kinchit vasikaratvam asti eva iti yato yatha shabdah sarthaka iti apre praha. So he is just commenting on this word yatha vrundhe satsanga. Why he is saying this meaning is that when you say yatha, that as bhakti controls me, so then it looks like as if the other one also control. Right? Like if you say that as I am pleased by chocolate, I am not pleased by what biscuit. Right? So that means biscuit also gives you some pleasure, but not like chocolate. So if you say yatha vrundhe satsango sarvasanga apaho hi mam, it looks like that satsanga is controlling you more than other things they also control. But he is not happy with that meaning. So therefore he gives another meaning of the word yatha yathavat. So yatha tatha means as that, as so, like that. But if you say yatha here means yathavat, means it is perfectly, properly, this only controls. Means when you say he did it as it should be done, yathavat, means perfectly. So that is the meaning he brings. Then he says that some other people, they give another meaning also, where the common meaning is taken of yatha, as yatha tatha only, as so. So what is that meaning? He says that bhakti controls, if it is pure bhakti, and these other things also control little bit when they are mixed with bhakti. Means there is bhakti with them, then they also control little bit, means that then bhakti is, as we read, bhakti gives the result of those particular paths. That if you have bhakti misra gyan, then you get the result of gyan. So how do you get the result of gyan? By the grace of bhakti. That means Krishna helped that. But it's only this much. Yathavat. So therefore he says, this is also the meaning. So agrim vakya kyati pad prayoge iti eke. Some people give this meaning. Eke means, when they say eke and anye, then eke means that this is the primary meaning. This is what the author likes, this meaning. And when you say apare anye, then he says, okay, this is also, some say yogadinam api bhakti mishratvat kinchid vasikaratvam asti eva. So he says, if you have yoga, sankhya, etc., and they are mixed with bhakti, then there is a little bit of control in them also. So for that sense, yatha is said, that the way bhakti controls, they do not control. There is also little bit. So yatha shabda sarthaka iti apare prahu. So this is, others they explain like that. So both ways it can be explained. Sarvasanga apaha sarvatrik asakti narasaka iti vashikara hetu. So he says that once one has satsanga, then one becomes free from all asatsanga. It is natural. If you have a empty cup and you fill it with milk, then you cannot have water in it, because there is no space left. So if you do satsanga, then asatsanga goes through the window. So therefore it says sarva sanga apaha, all other associations. All other association mean attachment. Sangha here also is in the sense of asakti. Sangha is not just some momentarily. Momentarily, yes, it is also said like that. Love matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi. It can ignite the fire in your heart. So that's how everything starts. The starting of bhakti happens only by satsanga. And then your other attachments, asaktis, likings, addictions, they vanish because of satsanga. So therefore, it is said that do satsanga. Santa eva chindanti vyasanga uktibhi. So they only will cut the attachment to other things. Tanmaji.
This question about yatha. So there are two interpretations. So in the first one, yathavat, which means the first three lines are denying that yoga, tapa can do anything at all. And the last line says that bhakti yoga does it alone, properly, or completely, or fully. And in the second interpretation, the yatha is a comparative, so the first three lines they can also do, but not as well as bhakti yoga.
Yeah.
In the first interpretation, though, the yathavat, if you drop it, it would make no difference to the meaning, right? Because these don't do anything, bhakti does it. Would be the. So I'm wondering how to do with it.
No, then you do not. It doesn't say that only bhakti does exclusively. Bhakti does and maybe they also do. You're not denying that.
But because it's na yoga, na tapa, you're denying it in the first three.
Hmm.
Then in the last you're saying yatha, which is yathavat. So yoga doesn't do it, tapa doesn't do it, etc. Bhakti does it perfectly. That would be the way you would say it. But you could as well drop perfectly and you would say the same thing, essentially. That's why I'm asking. You would say yoga doesn't do it, tapa doesn't do it, but bhakti does it. And no need for yathavat at all.
Yeah, so that's why they say that it has the second meaning also. Then the second meaning will not come.
That's true.
So now you can have both meaning and both fit. Satsangena hi daitaya yatu dhana mrigaha khagaha gandharvapsaraso naga siddhascharan guhyakaha vidyadhara manusyeshu vaishya shudra striyonteja rajastamah prakritaya tasmin yuge anagha. So now he is giving examples. First he gave the principle and then he gives example to make the it's always like that, you give some principle then you explain it with an example. So principle is that bhakti comes by satsanga, perfection comes by satsanga. And then where are the examples of it? So he says it is only by satsanga that dataya, the datyas, yatudhanas, animals, birds, gandharvas, apsaras, snakes, siddhas, charana, guhyaka, vidyadhara, these are all devyonis. So up till here, because that they are all part of devyoni. Of course animals have come in between, birds have come. But then among the human beings he says Vaishyas, Shudra, Striya and even Antyaja, all these people who are in Rajastama Prakriti, in the various yugas, they all attain perfection by satsanga. So he is saying Rajastama Prakritaya. So he's not even mentioning about those who are in Sattva Guna. They will definitely, he says even people who are in Rajas and Tamas, they attain perfection. Because many times devotees have this feeling that to become devotee, you have to be in Sattva Guna. So he says that even if one is in Tamas or Rajas, one can become devotee by satsanga. Doesn't have to come to Sattva Guna and then become devotee. So that is, he says, Rajas Tamah Prakritaya, that they are not Sattvic people. So Vasikaranam atra gaunam mukhyam cha yatha sambhavam Bāṇādau Sri Gopyādau cha darshayati chaturbhi. So he says that this Vasikaran or this control is of two types. One is secondary and one is primary. So secondary is like people like Banasura. Primary is like Gopi. So Krishna was completely under the control of the gopis, but not of people like Banasura, a little bit. So now he describes this in 4 slokas, beginning from the sloka number 3. Santaha pradhani bhuta bhakti mantaha keval bhakti mantascha. So Santa devotees are of 2 types. So they are who are predominantly devotees, but with some mixture of jnana, karma, yoga, etc. And then there are pure devotees, keval bhakti mantascha. Tatra purvesham sangibhir bhagavad-vasikaro gaunah uttaresham tu mukhya iti gaya. So since there are 2 types of devotees, then the vasikara, the control, is also of 2 types. Those who are devotees with mixed devotion, their control is secondary. And those devotees whose devotion is not mixed with anything, pure devotion, their control is primary. Because Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. That as you approach me, I also reciprocate similarly. So if somebody is doing bhakti, but he is also dependent on something else, then Krishna also says, okay, I don't have to be so much focused on him because he is also not so much focused on me. So let him also take some help from there because he thinks like that. But those who give up everything and they are dependent only on Krishna, then he also is fully devoted to them. The word yatudhana means Rakshasa. So Rakshasa are also our devotees. There was just little like evening news. So there is a famous temple, I think it is in Rajasthan, Khatu Syam. And in recent times this temple has become very, very famous. So this Khatu Syam is a temple of Bhima's grandson, whose name was Barbarik. Bhima had one wife called Hidimba, who was a Rakshasi. And he got one son from her, whose name was Ghatotkach. Ghatotkach fought in Mahabharata. He was killed by Karna, by that Shakti which he got from Indra in exchange of his earrings and the armor, which he wanted to use at Arjuna. But Ghatotkach came and he troubled him so much that the only way he could protect himself was by using this. So this Ghatotkach had one son, Barbarik. Barbarik was a very big champion. So when the war came, this is the story. It's not in Mahabharata, because there are many stories which are not in Mahabharata, but they are also there. Gemini also wrote one Mahabharata, so maybe part of that. So he came, and at that time people were, saying that you fight from this side, fight from that side. So Barbarik also came, and everybody was telling what is my strength, because you have to calculate, who has to fight with whom, what is the strength of the enemy, what is our strength, who should take care of him. So Barbarik said that I am going to, first he said that I can kill everybody just with one arrow. And I will be on the side which is losing. So this is a very dangerous proposal. So he said, how do you say that you can kill everybody by one? He said, I can prove it. So he shot one arrow at the tree, and the tree went and pierced all the leaves of the tree and came back. So then Krishna cut off his head. So he says, what is this? That I could not fight. He says, we don't need you. You will spoil the whole game. So then it is said that Krishna blessed him that in Kali Yuga you will be worshipped along with my name. So therefore Khatu is, I think, is a place, and Syam is his name, because Krishna is called Syam. So he is now become, most people don't even know that he is Barbarik. They only worship him as Khatu Syam. And the other people who worship Barbarik in India, this may be news to you, are this Tritiya Prakriti. What you call them in English? they are not transgender. They are born like that. Who are neither male nor female. Eunuchs. You call it eunuch? So they are the unique eunuchs. So they also worship Barbrik. Barbrik is their god, the eunuchs. They consider him as the supreme person. Purna Purusha for them is Barbrik. I don't know why, but this is there. So why I am telling this story is that today I watched one small video that there is, you heard of Kirit Bhai Joshi? Nobody? So Purushottam Prabhu must have heard. Tanmay Prabhu, you know Kirit Bhai?
No.
No? Purushottam Prabhu, you know?
I didn't hear his name. No, I've never heard his name.
Really?
Maybe he's popular, but I don't know.
I think he was born in London, and of course, you know, Kirit Bhai means Gujarati, and but he's a very big Bhāgavata speaker. I heard his name even when I was in ISKCON. Maybe I heard him also. He's a good speaker, and he speaks in English. He does Bhāgavatam in English also, Hindi also. Came to Vrindavan few times. So he said that Barbrik, this Khatu Shyam is a Rakshas. That's why the story came to my mind, because Yatu Dhana Rakshasa. So now people got on his case. They attacked him and they abused him on social media, and they made him ask forgiveness in public, and they said you have to go to Khatu Shyam. So he is explaining, he says these people, they are fools, they don't understand that the word Rakshasa means one who protects. So he says all these people who are attacking me, they are actually not devotee of Khatu Shyam. I think in Gujarat he is not known as Khatu Shyam but as Khatu Naresh, means the King Khatu or King of Khatu. So then he is giving a whole lecture explaining the word Rakshasa from the Vedas, from the Puranas, and how Prahlad is a Rakshasa and Vibhishan is also a Rakshasa. And there is nothing wrong, I said, and so interesting. Anyway, that's an evening news. Okay.
Babaji, we have a question on chat. Vrindavan Chandra Das ji is asking, in verses 3 to 6 there is a quote that can be misunderstood or misused by listing Striyaha, women in a low category next to Shudras, Nagas and Mriga. What should be the proper way to understand this?
Proper way to understand is that he is just saying that generally in the society, you see, you have to understand certain things in context. So when these things were spoken, women were not as now after feminism. So you go back 100 years in the history, you will see this situation. Now you are objecting because things have changed. But even 100 years ago, women were not so much free as they are free now. So it is being spoken in that particular context. Women were not going to Gurukula, at least in those days. Maybe earlier time they also went in the Vedic period, but this is when Krishna spoke. At that time women were not studying like men were studying. So therefore they were not as privileged when it came to, they were not taking sannyas. So most people thought that you take moksha, you get moksha. Varnashram system, the moksha is available to sannyasis. That's how Varnashram system works. So gradually you move from Sudra, you become Vaishya, then Kshatriya, then Brahmana, then you go up, then you get sannyasa. This is Varnashram system. So Krishna is saying that bhakti is available for everybody. So from that it has to be understood. But now, of course, in the modern times, you can attack him, certainly. There is possibility.
We have another question from Leela Raniji. Babaji Radhe, many times we see devotees associating with sadhus but also associating with materialistic people with bad habits. And that asat sangha doesn't always disappear. In fact, it continues to influence them. So how do we understand?
No, they are not associating with sadhus. They are just enjoying with the sadhus. Association means with respect, with honor, with shraddha, with faith. Without respect, shraddha, faith, nothing works. Because why is that? If you don't respect, then you don't take their words seriously. Then it's just like you have like these days you have what you call them, Facebook friend. So are these Facebook friends really friends? It's only the word friend, but there's nothing friendliness in it. Friend means, like Krishna says, Tvamme bhritta sruhit sakha. So he's using two words, sruhit and sakha. Both can be translated as friend in English, but they have a difference. So sakha is what you call playmate, sruhit you call bosom friend. So there is some chemistry, some harmony, some sense of welfare to the friend, some devotion in friendship also. So that is not there. So now people don't know what it means sadhu, how to associate with a sadhu. Sadhu says one thing which does not match with the mind of the person who is hearing. Immediately he goes on the social media and criticizes. This is exactly the story is telling. He said that Khatu Syam is a Rakshasa, then people become immediately upset instead of asking him. So he says that he's made this statement 8 days ago. Till now he has been attacked by hundreds of people, even personally coming and abusing him, writing. He says, but nobody has asked him that why do you say that he's Rakshasa? And very interesting thing he says that he was reading, because he has good knowledge of English, so he's reading, quoting from somewhere. He says, those people who have only one book, they are dangerous. Those books, because they never read it and they think this is the only truth. Those books who have a library and those who read it, you should never fear them. So he says, these followers of Khatu Syam are like that. That they don't read anything and they are attacking me. He says, I have studied and I can explain why I have said it, but ask me. So why I am saying it, that this is what it means, sadhu sangha. That if somebody says something, Krishna says something, Arjuna asks question. Why you say that you taught this to sun god? Aparam bhavta janma param janma varshata katham etad vijaniyam. How do I know that he spoke? So he answers. Instead of going on social media and then writing, Krishna says, look what a liar he is. He's saying he gave this knowledge to sun god. Is it logical? And then 2,000 people will put hands up, thumbs up. Yeah, it's true. How can he speak to sun god? He's born now.
We have another question, Babaji. Satyanarayana dasa Babaji is asking, what is the difference between someone teaching and talking about Bhagavad Gita and Bhakti? According to Bhagavad Gita 1868 to 69, not necessarily having pure bhakti at moment, but having sincere desire to speak about Krishna and Krishna being attracted to someone's pure bhakti.
I don't understand. What is?
Maybe he can ask.
Why don't you speak? Cannot hear you.
Babaji das Babaji. Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the Bhagavad Gita 18:68 and 69, Krishna says that someone who is teaching about Bhagavad Gita and surrendering to him is very dear to him.
Hmm.
Yeah. So my question is, because that person necessarily doesn't have to have pure devotion, but he has sincere desire to talk about Krishna. So my question is, what is the difference between that person and Krishna being attracted to someone who is having a pure devotion? Because obviously this person who is teaching about Krishna is also dear to Krishna.
His teaching about Krishna is what?
Also dear to Krishna according to Bhagavad Gita verses.
So the basic principle is simple. Just like we said that there are two types of devotees. Remember he said those who are Keval Bhaktas and Mishra Bhaktas. And their attraction of Krishna to them is primary and secondary. So what is the difference between these two? Why to one he is attracted more and less to other? So attraction is basically on the basis of devotion. What attracts Krishna is devotion, bhakti, love. So depending on how much devotion that person has, that much he will be attracted. So if he is not having much devotion, as you say, that he is not completely pure, then attraction will also be less. And if it is somebody is fully devoted, pure, then there will be more attraction. That's why he gives the example of Banasura and Gopis in the commentary.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.